3, 2, 1, and we're live. Thank you for joining us again for another Mugs Meets the Lego Masters contestants. Tonight we have Branko and Max, or Manko and Max. I'm joined again with my co-host Nicole. Welcome, guys.
Hi, everyone.
How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, we're doing great. We're getting into our usual self of breaking stuff again. So yeah.
Isn't it usually you that's breaking things, Branko, and not
There's
Max?
no that at all anywhere. I
think everyone's seen that.
It's rumors. Hearsay.
Rumors and lies.
I think there was some video evidence of that, wasn't there? The pizza box getting thrown.
It's all just CGI. All that, whatever you saw.
Whose fault was the car breaking?
Sorry?
The floating car, the future car. Whose fault was that?
Yeah, that was a nice event, and Max was really good at getting that thing balanced in all the times that we tried it. So we were quite confident getting in, but that thing was just finicky like you wouldn't believe.
I think we tested it the most out of everyone, and then it was kind of a team effort that it fell the last time. And it was just the amount of time we tested it, and then we were the only ones that it broke.
Yeah.
Rigged it, but there's no way to rig it, so it's
I have seen those levitation things really hard to balance and keep balanced properly, so it's an interesting challenge.
The disc by itself is already finicky, right? But even if there's nothing on it, getting the disc to float difficult bit. Once it's floating, even the balance doesn't matter too much anymore, but just being able to hold it still enough that it doesn't instantly just flick to the side, that was tricky.
Yeah.
And I think with Hamish walking on the other side of the curtain, it's just got a little tense, and our fingers were not as stable, or whatever it was. Or there was sabotage. We're not rolling it out.
Sabotage.
Possible.
So, at the builds that we've seen so far, what's your favorite build? What's your favorite thing that you've done?
We've got the mini ones in front of us here.
Because you guys have done 6 builds so far, haven't you?
Yeah.
Before 6. Tonight. Yeah.
6 episodes. So you've done some of the mini builds. I'll bring you up full screen, and
yeah, it's hard to see.
Do you want to show us some of the mini builds that you've done of your recreations?
Oh, cute.
I'll move it back there. There we go. So we got the rocket ship from last night, and then the and then the rats in the fridge.
They're not supposed to be moving.
All right, and then we got the car of the future. Now, and that works out fine. The little pizza guy, and then the Trident man. Yeah.
Oh wow, cute.
I think from the way that TV, I really like the Poseidon. A statue that actually was supposed to pee as the water came down, but the water came down actually low for that effect to be at all noticeable.
Yeah.
And it was a special one because it's the first time we were with the brick pit working against the clock, all that, and then being able to pull something off that was new at every corner. I think for me that was a really proud moment.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed probably the pizza box. Maybe I'm not sure. I'll agree with that. Yeah, the Poseidon was probably.
Yeah. I'll admit the lighting that they had for the Poseidon shot was it looked the best, I thought.
Which shot,
lighting behind it. The lighting for the Poseidon when it was coming up and lit the statue from behind. I think that was really good.
That was cool. When we saw it live, we thought we got quite lucky that we got put right next to the light and that you could see it like that. It was really.
You can't really design it that way, but we did. Yeah.
And it was the tallest one out of all of them, wasn't it? So it was the first kind of thing that peeked through.
Tiny, a little bit taller.
The word
was very little
taller. Lockhart wing.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
I'd say it was quite even, but we weren't
Yeah.
So we had most fun. Ironically, that's probably the reason we weren't shown on TV too much, because we were just having a blast. We were just putting stuff together, and we were just playing with Lego. In the end, there was something in the fridge, and we really had a very fun build in that one.
Yeah.
This little one, King Carl.
How confident were you guys going in to this Lego Masters reality TV show with your Lego building skills?
We were actually different, right? During the audition, we were asked that question, and Max said that I think we'll make it beyond the first elimination.
Yeah.
A level of confidence, and I thought, well, we could make it to the final. So there was a bit of a split between what we thought we could do.
I with Lego a lot longer than I have, so I had quite some doubts when it came to our Lego building ability, or really just my Lego building ability. But it's, rightfully so. I haven't had as much time to, experience what Lego has to offer, while Dad, on the other hand, has had plenty of time. So the confidence as ability differed, I'd say.
You've got a twin, don't you, Max?
Yeah, identical twin brother, Warren.
Identical twin. Does he or her, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl.
Identical.
Yeah, really.
Well, I guess it could be identical. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's not though, is it? So does he build Lego as well, or is it just you?
He maybe builds an occasional set here and there, but no, he's not really into it as much as I am, and definitely not as much as Dad is. Yeah.
So it's not like Branko, you had to choose between the two sons, to go on the show with him.
Really, I mean, I'm a Lego addict. I'm not going to hide that, but I auditioned last year and I got rejected. So I figured, it makes sense. These Lego Masters are absolutely fantastic. I'm not at that level, and I was happy with that. And then Max was the one that said, I want to audition for this. Dad, do you want to come with me? And then I said to him, hey, don't you want to go with your brother? And then his parents said, no, I'm not doing it. You're stuck with Dad. So I warned Max, look, if you go with me, you're going to be carrying it through the audition. And he did.
Definitely, yeah.
Amazing.
And what's it like being on stage or on the set with Brickman and Hamish and all the other contestants?
Sorry, what was that?
What's it like being on stage with or on set with Hamish and Brickman and all the other contestants? Are you full of more nerves seeing everyone's builds as you go, or you don't really have time to look around the room?
You definitely don't have time to look around the room while you're building, because you're just so engrossed in your own, build. I guess especially in the rocket ship that we did, there was many moments throughout the build where our producer or something would come up to us and be like, look around the room, you guys are a lot more behind than you think, because you don't realize it, how what's going on with the other people. And Hamish and Brickman, they add a little bit of nerves, because every time they come, it kind of gives you an extra reminder, this isn't just the Lego model, this is two highly respected, highly amazing people who are going to be looking at it, and then I don't know how many other people watch the show. They're kind of make you feel a bit more stressed, because that it's not just you two seeing the build, but they're also very supportive, and it's lovely.
And I really enjoyed Hamish. I mean, every time you see Hamish pull a prank on someone, you have to realize he pulls a prank on everyone when that happens.
Yeah. And
he does that several times per episode. So, and I like the part where Max at some point is bashing his head, which was with a long way to the top when a prank was pulled. In one way, you feel, I don't know what you feel, but I smile on my face after that. It gives me a boost of energy, and you're laughing, and then it gives you a bit of spring in going on with the build. So every time Hamish came over, it feels like, yeah, okay, something weird's going to happen. We're probably going to be the butt of a joke, but it'll give us a boost to keep going. Whereas every time Brickman comes over, you're a little nervous and like, okay, now we're going to...
Yeah.
And that actually didn't always occur either. Sometimes he comes along and he says, I like what you're doing, maybe try this or that, or this is how this could work better. And he was really a father to all of us, all the teams. So that was really, really...
Do you think it was a good decision in the end to change your rocket from the head to the rocket in the end?
Max is saying yes.
It's not great that we changed it that late, or just the fact that we changed it at all, because it's good if you have an idea and you stick with it. But in the end, I'd say it's good we changed from head, because Brickman, he vocalized to us just how hard it is to build a head. He kind of gave us a bit of insight into what it would take to build a head, and after that, we were very much thrown off of doing that. So we were happy to change, even though it might not have been the smartest idea. But then again, we didn't have any other choice,
And the stupidest thing was, this was one of the rare builds where usually we get a brief and it's almost like it's on TV. Your time starts now, go. And you have to come up with it all at once. With this particular build, we actually got given a break. Here's the brief. You've got a 30-minute or an hour break. Do some research. And that was already an indication of, hey, something weird's happening. And we did research, and the first idea we came up with, or that Max came up with, was a spaceship. And we discarded it as, that's too boring, that's too easy. And then we went way ambitious with going for a dragon, and that was just not working for us. And in the end, we sort of ended up with a spaceship. So, yeah, we overreached a fair bit. I literally said that in the episode as well. So, great moment, fantastic relief that we weren't sent home on that, because that would have been terrible.
Yeah.
Not a proud moment. Do
you think you'll revisit the head idea, like in a future mock for maybe Brickvention or another Lego Expo?
I like targeting Brickvention there.
When seeing like the drawing come up on the screen and seeing people's reaction to the head, and it was all positive stuff. People being like, "Wow, cool idea." Yeah. So I feel like one day we might revisit it, but at a smaller scale or at a just easier general way of like maybe not a human head, but like a minifig head. It might be easier. But I see someone love the head idea, and that is exactly what I need to hear. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like we might make it in the future, downsize it, or make it a minifig head as opposed to a human head, just so that there's less curves and stuff.
Yesterday we had a watch party together with 6 of the contestants and 60 odd university students, and we had very literal feedback on what was happening at the time, and that was fantastic to actually hear people in the room respond to what's happening on the screen. That was nice. So at that point we thought, maybe we should go back to the head. And I know someone might have been Brickvention or Sydney Brick Show has built a head with rooms and stuff in it, so there is some reference material to go with, and it would be nice. It's something where you can really have a play with all kinds of things and colors and ideas and stories.
Who stole the dragon idea from who?
Pardon?
That you were going to do a dragon first. You started doing the dragon first. Who stole the dragon idea from who?
It wasn't actually a stealing kind of thing, because we all got sent off on our own, and that's when we were thinking of the ideas. It wasn't a dragon for us originally. I thought I'd seen a lot of funny pictures online about Loch Ness Monster and how it's not an actual monster. It's just an old sailor man, little mechanical thing. So I was like, we can do Loch Ness Monster, but then we have to figure out how to half submerge it or like not submerge it. If it's not submerged, it'll probably look more like a dinosaur or like a dragon. And that's the dragon idea. While Joss and Henry probably had a completely different mental line to get there. They probably just said, we're great at dragons. Let's do a dragon and it will look wonderful. We know it will.
It'll look wonderful.
So they were right.
Yes. And, didn't give up instantly when we saw they did a dragon. We thought, we can do a different kind of dragon. We'll put something a bit more lighthearted and comical in it, and we're going to keep going. But it was just not coming together. I mean, there's a piece in the episode where we put up the head and it immediately crashes down. Not surprising, because it was just a scaling skeleton at that point, but there were so many technical things that we just had no idea on how to tackle that we couldn't really see how to pull that off.
Yeah.
A pity.
Are you finding?
Love to revisit.
Are you finding throughout the series, or as you went on, your skills improved and you learned a lot more or new techniques or different ways of doing? Do you have any inspiration or tips that you've found as your best technique that you've learned?
So yes, throughout the season, Brickman mentions a lot. He's like, each challenge teaches you a new skill that ultimately you should take on board and then reuse in the future at some point, growing in skill as the season progresses. So we learned a lot of great things in terms of just general time management to bricklaying and like what can be made quickly and what looks good, what looks bad. Size-wise, like how far away you have to be for it to actually see detail, stuff like that. Personally, something that I found out quite quickly, and I actually learned this from Joss and Henry, and then I think this is one of the things I learned from Joss and Henry was they love to use their flex tubes, and I had never seen a flex tube before the show.
Yes.
And I bucket full of different size flex tubes where you can create curved stuff. I looked at Joss and Henry, and they had used it to create curved stuff. So it gave me an idea on how to. I was like, oh, that's sick, and I started going for that. So if anyone has flex tubes, it is God's Lego, and I love it. But
in episode 1, I had a very interesting learning moment with. I think both of us did, where Brickman essentially showed us how you can design or build using the brick bit. So if the number of bricks you have are not a limit, and it goes to the face of the Poseidon, he said, yeah, it's a face. That sort of summed it up. You need to do something else. And he just suggested build 10 different faces next to each other. Now, at home, that's a bit tricky because you might not have 10 faces next to each other. But in the brick bit, we could, and we did. We just put them all next to each other on the table and then could mix and match. And that is something that I think we took on from that episode, for example, that you have access to all these bricks. You can just build multiple of something and go that way. And it's absolutely right. Every episode we were taught a specific skill, a specific lesson that we took on into the next episode. And I think it's true for everyone. So it felt like a race of who can learn the quickest, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Who learnt the quickest?
We've got, what are we up to? Episode 6? So we've got
episode 6. Whoever progresses the
nine
farthest.
more episodes to go, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Are we already a quarter of the way through?
How many?
14 episodes.
How many episodes?
14. So we're close to half. Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm guessing
okay.
they don't tell us actually.
Yeah.
So we just know how many
it's...
builds we did, but how they split it up between episodes, sort of making an educated guess. I think it's going to be 14 episodes. That was the case last year, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
It all goes too quick. They show, there's too many in 1 week that they pack in, and it's such a short space of time that it's on, and then it's over, and then everyone's sad again.
Yeah. Nick and I agreed yesterday. It would be great if it was just one a week for us as well, because that would digest.
People have other things to do with their time other than just watching Lego Masters. Right.
The ratings.
Well said. Yeah.
And it's an interesting choice. I don't really know why they do 3 a week. I'm sure there's a science behind it, but yeah. It's what it is. Well outside of our pay grade, I guess.
So I wanted to ask. Sorry, you go, Wade.
No, you.
I was just going to ask Max, or I guess Branko as well, about taking time off school, because you're in high school or were in high school. I don't know if you still are in high school. Were you in year 12?
I'm now in year 12. So I was like finishing off year 11, starting year 12 while we were filming. Okay.
So was that a hard decision to make, to take so much time off school to do the filming?
Well, my brother and I both, we really want to be in the creative arts industry when we grow up. So we thought at first, let's sign up, and then if we get on, we can make the decision of whether we'll do it or not, just because of all the time we have to take off. But as soon as we heard we were on and thought about it, I was like, I'm going to get to spend a lot of time on set learning about the creative arts industry in terms of like cameras and like maybe a bit of acting stuff as well. I'll get to learn all about that for however long I stay on the show. And so I kind of just jumped at that opportunity at first. So it wasn't too tough of a decision.
practical.
Yeah,
learning.
it was a good work experience while doing it, doing the show. And my teachers also heard about it, and they were like, absolutely, this is what you want to do in life. You don't need an ATAR as high as other things to do this. So take the time off and do it. Obviously, it's going to hit your marks a little bit, but if you're enjoying it.
And honestly, from my perspective, even if Max wouldn't want to go into the arts, the experience of working under pressure like this, long days, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., some 5-6 days a week, under pressure, making decisions, design, planning, all that sort of stuff, I think they're massively useful skills in any field. And that's the kind of pressure cooker learning that you're not getting that in school. So from that perspective, I think it's useful what Max has learned. From my personal perspective, honestly, I was like, I get to spend time with my teenage son, who I barely see because he's out having fun in the world, and do that intensely for a week. And yeah, I'll sign up. Bring it on. I'm very keen to spend some quality.
Yeah, wow. Okay. But yeah. It's a long time and at a very strategic time.
How's the reaction been with your high school peers and friends and group, like being on reality TV? Has it been a good reaction from family and friends?
Yeah, it's been received quite well, actually. I've had friends been messaging me during the show, and people that I've kind of fallen out of touch with also contact me again, being like, "Oh my gosh, I saw you on this thing." We actually, because some of our family lives in the Netherlands, like halfway across the world, they've also been emailing us, "Oh, we heard you were on it," and somehow managed to get a copy of it, and have been watching it as well and sending their thoughts. It's been really lovely to reconnect with family and friends.
Awesome.
Yeah. And while we were on the show, we did try to keep up. I mean, Max was still doing some school. I was trying to keep up with work, but it's almost an exercise of futility.
Oh, yeah.
Your body and mind for 12 hours. At the end of the day, you just, you're spent. You're empty. And if you do have energy, in our particular case, we went out to one of the hotel rooms of the contestants. We all had a massive party together. If fill day the next day.
Yes.
Were there any other contestants? Sorry, we keep doing there's so much delay in the voices, it keeps cutting it out. Were there any other contestants that were as ambitious as you guys, trying to keep their full-time things happening at the same time? Because that sounds pretty crazy.
Yes. I think the one that I know, sorry? The one that I know of was Rach. Rach still had gotten a lot of leave from work, but she also said, "Look, I'm going to see what I can do for work, and what I can done is great." And she really had the same struggle. She tried, but just sitting down to get your mind into work mode when your mind is really into clicking bricks mode, it's was a challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all struggled with things. So anyone who wants to get on Lego Masters, I recommend, if you can just take full leave, just take full leave. Just switch off, go just full Lego Masters mode.
It's much more enjoyable.
It's I think it's more enjoyable that way.
Yeah.
Mind you, we had an absolute blast. It was really, really good fun. Recommend anyone, just sign up, give it a go. Maybe you're lucky and you get on. It's indescribable good fun.
That's so awesome. That someone from the audience said, Tom said, "Wow, time off school to build Lego. That's the dream."
Yes, it is. When there's a small period of time I finish filming and before the show comes out, where I'm back at school and the teacher trying to figure out what I've been doing for the past 6 weeks. And my brother, because he goes to the same school and has almost all the same classes, 12, I can't honestly remember how long it was. 12,
October to December.
October to December. Jeez. Okay, so a few months. Anyway, the point is, my brother took the liberty of telling everyone that I had done all manner of things, depending on who was. He'd tell them something new. I think he told a couple of teachers that I had gone to juvie. He told a couple of friends that I had broken into someone's house and was in trouble, had to stay at home. He was enjoying it, probably too much, but I came to them, no, it was, trust me, it's nothing bad. Obviously it wasn't what it was. Yeah.
I think you have your next series of mock ideas then. What I did, what my brother told the world I did while I was filming Lego Masters.
Yeah,
Kind of cool.
Definitely going to be an MA plus rating. Most of them were not PG. Even Edgy Family would.
Yeah.
Mind you, that happened on the show. A lot of stuff on set that would never make it off the set. Let's say
you grow as friends, and with friends you get a bit more loose. So eventually they have to tell you to reel it back.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the bones and all the slightly darker tones have gone through this season. So the Amelia Earhart and the bones for the piano. I'm surprised that got through the edit, I guess.
Yeah. They
are allowed to do that.
Definitely going more Edgy Family. I think it was one of the first things Hamish told us. It was like, we're going to go Edgy Family this time. So run with it.
That's awesome. Okay. So there wasn't any things that they told you that you couldn't build at the beginning, apart from license stuff?
Yeah, there was always there were general briefs on things they didn't want, which is military themes, military,
realistic
gore, sexual scenes, the typical things that Lego doesn't want to be associated with, I guess, were outlawed. Okay. And the episodes, there was usually some things that you couldn't build.
Yeah.
For example, episode 1, there was a comment immediately, I would build a sunken ship. Well, that was one thing that was outlawed because there was already a sunken ship, so it has to be anything other than a sunken ship.
Yeah.
There, and there you go with that. But usually there wasn't too much restriction.
Yeah, awesome.
Out of the episodes we've seen now, would you have changed an idea for one of your mocks or one of your builds? So would you have done something differently?
Which one would you have changed?
Like obviously we changed the rocket halfway through, the face of the rocket, but would you have done any of the others differently?
Any of the others? Besides the rocket,
I think with most of our builds, we've come to realize that a lot of detail doesn't really contribute to the build in the way it gets reviewed or shown.
Yeah.
So we probably would have focused our details on things that are more front and center or bigger. So on the Poseidon, for example, we would have added detail to the actual statue and then maybe not put so much stuff on the ground that you couldn't really see when it was coming out of the water. So those kind of things. Fundamentally, really changing drastically the idea. Yeah, I think the rocket would have been the main thing.
Yeah, otherwise,
up to now anyway.
We're quite happy with the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did an amazing job. When you did the song, built the song, was there real fear that Delta wasn't gonna get it? It seemed like she wasn't gonna get it.
Expressions were not acted.
No.
He was constipated, really.
We had a lot of struggle with how do you build a way? What is the way? A long way to the top. And what is the top? Top of what, And we built a building and then we were planning to make it like cut off at a certain point, and then Brickman was like, oh, but you can't tell that that's the top of the building. You should put clouds around. I'm like, this is too late to tell us, It was very stressful because it's such a open to interpretation song. And we have to try and nail it down with a physical build. But she guessed it, which I think Hamish and Brickman pushed her across the line. So eternally grateful to them.
They helped, I think. They helped quite a bit in making weird grunting noises in the background.
Yeah.
So sort of...
I actually couldn't believe she got it because I don't think I would have got it. Like, not because you guys didn't build it exactly the right way for someone to get it. It's just, it seemed like the hardest one to guess.
Yeah. So the thing that I kept seeing as we were building was a long and windy road. And like, yeah, great. That's not what it should be, but I don't know how to do it different. But yeah, that was interesting. And then, again, there was a lesson in storytelling, as Brickman said, just trying to leave away the art of not putting stuff down, which is difficult because it's so fun to make little details, to make also with the rocket, the fun bit was the inside. The rest was painful, but once we had an inside and we could do something with it, then we could have some joy. So yeah, you probably can relate that when you build a mock, right? When you start doing the detailing and the storytelling, and when you get the minifig involved, and
and you start posing everything.
Yeah. And then you change it all.
Out of all the builds that have been on Lego Masters, not necessarily yours, but any of the builds, what's your favorite so far from this season? So do you have a favorite build from the series so far that's not yours?
I'd say I do have a favorite. It's going to be, it's a tough one, mind you. I've thought about this a lot, that's why I immediately have a response, but it is a tough one because there's so many cool things. But it is going to be Nick and Jean's, what's it called, the record player one that they did with
the jazz quartet.
I just fell in love with that, and I don't know why. But that is not said easily. Obviously, there are some other amazing ones, like the cut in half dragon one from Justin Henry. Loved that. Yeah, there's a few, but I think Jean's record player was my favorite.
Do you know if they kept any of those for prizes this year? They were doing like prizes last year for some of the competitions.
We had no idea. Shepherded off the set, and that's the last time we see builds. And even the hero shots, pretty shots that they show on TV, we don't get to see them. Only once did we actually were taking those photos, and we were impressed with all the lighting they put on and the smoke effects. And oh wow, this is going to look even better than we've seen it. So we don't know. There might be some builds that they kept apart, but nothing that we clearly saw. If someone built a massive winter landscape and suddenly there was no white brick pit anymore for the rest of the series, then we would have known. But it wasn't like that. Could
the
be.
Audience. Someone in the audience, Carrie, has said, "Did Delta get to keep her world though? Because she was seen taking that out of the door."
We don't know. She got it pretty close to the back door, but then we were put it away before we could see how far she went.
I think she might have gotten to keep the little person.
Uh-huh.
Maybe she kept the whole world. Yeah, that she kept it all.
I would have, because there were a lot of snop bricks in that build. We were really low on snop for that entire build because Alex and Caleb hogged them all. And the next build they're there again. So either they had more in back storage or they actually did disassemble it. But yeah, not sure.
I'm
trying to think I think one of my favorite builds, other than the record player with Max, I'm with that thing was not that thing. That scene was just alive. You stand there and you could feel the emotion of the characters. You could, it just sucked you in. I think the TV even didn't do it justice, but they really rightfully won, to my view. Having said that, I really fell in love with the TV as well. The TV was right next to us as we were building the cinema TV that Caleb and Alex made with the mice, and I just fell in love with that. That was such a lovely scene, so cute. You could follow the mice through, and they were all doing something. And I really, really liked that one. I really liked the style. So I think up to now, those two would be my favorites.
Carrie is asking, do they supply you photos of the builds? Like, do you get a copy of any of the photos or stuff before you go to air, or
a few hours before it airs? So we got copies of our build for tonight, say at 4 p.m. this afternoon, and then we can use them to post on Instagram. And sometimes those photos are pretty terrible. I shouldn't say this probably, but
it's shocking sometimes. We have to email them back occasionally, being like, "Hey, do you have any others?" And some say yes.
Do you have a photo where my face is actually in the photo, or that sort of stuff?
Once, Justin Henry's like Stairway to Heaven, they just did everything but heaven. They just cropped.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Photo Stairway.
Yeah. It's not great.
So we're actually keen to watch the episode because that's the first time we get a really good look at some of these builds, and we get a chance to walk around the set briefly. When hands down, the time's up. We pretty much get herded immediately off the floor, but we always do the long way around to have a quick look at everyone's build. But yeah, tonight on TV is the first time we're going to see in more detail what's happening.
Yeah.
Tonight's a little different because it's a well, you've probably seen the trailers. It's an action and
Bridge.
spend more time looking at everything. But most builds, we got very little time to look at a lot of the details. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's cool builds. These people are fantastic. And I have to say it again, that the cast are just a family now. We hang out with them whenever we can, and every time we do, it's a great time. And I'm sure you've heard it from previous seasons as well, that the bond you get with these people is just different. And for us,
But this year you're all from New South Wales though, so it must be a lot easier for you to bond afterwards, whereas in previous years, you know, they were kind of scattered around Australia. I think it's just Crystal and Andrew that are stuck over here while you guys all bond in New South Wales.
Is that why they got voted out first?
Pardon?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Good read
Well,
Oldest lived in Melbourne for 9 years before we came to Sydney, so that's one still member of Mugs.
Some people were from like Port Macquarie or something, so there's like a couple of hours out of Sydney, so we don't see them as much. But most of us are from Sydney, which makes meeting up wonderful.
Yeah.
And the reason we're all from New South Wales is not a surprise, right? When the recording started in October, the lockdown in Wales was very much active still.
Oh, yeah.
So every contestant that wanted to apply from out of state just had to agree that you might be able to come into the state, but if you can't go home, you're on your own. And Crystal and Andrew accepted that. And apparently nobody from other states accepted that or was willing to even audition under those conditions, which makes total sense, right? It's you already go away from home, and then actually the risk of staying away from home for as long as the government decides to keep the border closed. WA only opened last month, so a long time away from home.
I think everyone had auditioned earlier, but the developments of the pandemic were kind of changing so rapidly, and it just so happened that when filming was just about to start, they were like, oh shit, there is actually a chance now that people might not be able to get back, whereas before there wasn't that fear.
No, that's right. And it was also the reason why we weren't allowed to go home at all or have dinner, so all we had while we were in the hotel it was just us contestants. So we hung out all the time. Day. Whether we were on set or off set, we hung out with each other, and that was our family. That was just the reality that we had. We had a great night where Kirsty cooked a fantastic taco dinner. So we had a taco night with tequila and snacks and taco. It was a fantastic evening. That's just an example. We had, every week we had one of those events, and great bonding experience.
And did you guys become closer, the two of you, through this experience, or was it just the same? You were already close.
I don't think closer is the word, because father and son, that's about as close as you can get. But our relationship changed. We I think you put it nicely. What was it again?
We went more from father son and had to figure out more of a friends dynamic, because you can't really work together as father son. Having a son boss around a father doesn't sound great. So if you have more of a friend dynamic, which is what we worked out, then bossing each other around on set became a lot easier.
Yeah.
Good.
It came as an adult and a child, and we came out as two teenagers, right?
Cute.
Like that. But it definitely changed how we communicate. And here at home as well, Mum and Warren, Ed and Warren, here, the two of them together. And when we returned, we noticed their relationship had changed as well. It's just a fairly high, dense period of a very different way of living. And we've got a much more open and equal way of communicating. And I really enjoyed it. Max sort of jumped through the adolescent period, relationship difficulty with the parents, but in a much shorter time. So hopefully we've just skipped the whole difficult period of adolescence, right? No, that's all right.
We're going to color in the blanks.
We have one question from one of our Mugs members. Do you all have a cameraman following each team, or was it how many camera people were there on each table?
So depending on the episode, a cameraman would get assigned 2 tables each, and then each episode tables would change per cameraman. For example, we got really close to the crew members as well. They're lovely people, and that's how we learned this, because we talked to them and they told us about it. So for example, for our first build, Poseidon, our guy had us, and then I think we were all the way at the end, so they had one table next to us, and they would basically have like a little roller chair maybe, and they would roll between us both, and they'd get some footage here, get some footage here. So what does that make it? The 4 walking around cameramen, and then I think there's like 2 extras just in case with like smaller cameras that they can run with.
And then there's the jib, which is a
big crane.
Yeah, that does the high shot, the overview shots, and then there's a person with a time-lapse camera that every now and then sets up, and that camera very slowly moves around as you build, and occasionally you see that bit where the hands move really quickly. That's what's happening. And the table has a table cam, and there's 6 cameras in the
yes.
It means they've got, say, for a 10-hour build, they've got 200 to 300 hours of footage to dig through, which explains why not that much actually makes it. A lot of things that happen, there's only so much you can do in an hour of TV. So
they also, I think I counted this during the what's it called, the stuntman one. They needed like slow-mo cameras, and they wanted to get like perfect shots of it, and you can only do it once, obviously. So I think I counted it, and there were total like 16 cameras in total on us, Hamish and Brickman, on the rest of the contestants, on the thing that's coming through the ring, on everything. It was a bunch of cameras.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, God. How is there room for you to like run to the brick pit through all those cameras?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that
there's a reason you're not allowed to run through that middle part. So like you have to run on the outside to go into the brick pit. If you're all the way on the other side, you can't cut through. There's always stuff going on. So they tell you to go all the way, which is annoying. But you get
I'm surprised like you don't see more cameramen in the shots than we do.
Yeah. They them worked out or something, because for our one especially, they went right off the Christmas special and started filming ours, I think. So they knew how it was going to work. Like, all right, I'm filming here, do not get in the shot. And they were just good at that, I guess. It's their job, so it makes sense.
Yeah. One of the memorable moments for me was, we had so many, but on set in the first episode, at some point, Max was making a change to the Poseidon, and he couldn't get a piece off that was on the back, and he was sweating at it and trying to get it off. And then I walked out, and Max said at me, "I can't get this off," and I just lifted it off just like that, and the man starts chuckling. He's just laughing, and Max just throws his hands up and walks away. And that was hear the cameraman laughing. Okay, we've entertained someone.
Also, I think I saw, because we've got the live stream here as well, a question pop up from Alex, the contestant, asking who the favorite team is. I just want to say, it's not you, Alex.
It's
one, but no, I'm kidding. She's anyway. Yes,
Alex is absolutely fantastic.
Don't worry, Alex. When we interview you, you can say they're not your favorites either.
Oh.
All right. It is getting close to the new episode airing tonight at 7:30 on Channel 9.
Yep.
Channel 9.
No,
right?
It's 9.
So I keep thinking it's on 7 for some reason.
Yeah.
No way. Don't say.
But, yeah.
Don't mention the evil number.
Yes. So we might wrap it up here. So you've got time to get ready and get into the episode. Thank you very much for joining us. Do you have any parting words for future potential applicants for Lego Masters?
Go for it. Just try. At Brigvention, someone asked, how would you manage the time if you get on the show? don't worry about it yet. Just audition. The audition process itself is already like a mini episode of Lego Masters. So even just getting the chance to audition is worth it. And if they get you on the show, then you can worry about how you handle it with the rest of your life. But it's an experience that money can't buy. So win or lose, go for it. Get on the show. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So go audition.
Nicole, you should apply this year.
We'll see.
We'll be rooting.
Thanks. Awesome.
Thanks so much, Branko and Max. You're amazing.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
thank you.
Bye.
Look forward to watching your journey. We'll end the broadcast here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.